buddy.
Hey, how's
We're
it going?
look. We told you we wouldn't be that long.
Hey,
It's like it's been nothing.
it has been nothing.
Yeah. So we like we said last episode, we're only doing one thing per episode this time.
Yep.
And we're gonna so we can take it slow. We can relax, luxuriate in the experience we just had.
Yeah, and also so these episodes don't come out a year from now
Exactly. That also.
because we just forgot lots of things about the other games.
Oh yeah. But this game is fresh.
Oh yes.
We just beat it today.
Oh yeah. Amazing.
Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
So good.
We played it for Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. On the Super Nintendo.
On the Super Nintendo, on an original cartridge. We did it.
We did it.
Probably
It
it
was 10 hours or so.
Yeah, it took us about 10 hours. Not bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good time.
Yeah, me too.
It was pretty good. So, like overall, I'd say, it was easy. Obviously,
Yeah.
like the history of this game. If you look into it, this was made, like, kind of for the West, but it was released in Japan as well, and they wanted to make it easier than most Final Fantasy games, like for the Western audience, because they thought like North Americans, they're not as smart, they got the dumb game.
They got them.
They got 'em.
us.
So they made an easier game, and it is a very easy game, but
very
it's not
easy.
It's not unfun
Yeah.
to play.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I would say, like, in a simple way to say it, like, it was just, like, kind of press A the game.
Yeah.
Like, it was a lot of just, like, hitting A and just, like, attacking
Mhm.
over and over. But that doesn't mean it's bad.
No.
Like, it's still very fun and, like, engaging.
Yeah, and we did like die a couple times also. Yeah. But it had like an instant like comeback system where it's like, oh, you can just restart the fight.
Yeah.
Which was also cool. I like that because in other Final Fantasy games, I remember we have like lost a ton of progress before by like dying at a boss and then having to go through the whole dungeon again.
Yeah, and that gets really annoying.
Yeah. But so as far as the story goes for this game, it starts like in
Right
the
away.
res, like there's like an earthquake happening or something.
Yeah.
You are an unnamed adventurer. I think the wiki calls him Benjamin.
Oh, yeah.
But like you're just there, just chilling, I guess, on a mountain, and some guy named White shows up, and he's like a magical man. He's like, there's a prophecy about a Dark Lord. He's trying to take over the world, and you got to save the crystals, my man, the 4 crystals.
Yeah.
And that's what you do.
You do it.
You go around the world with different party members will join you. You have like a party of 2, and you just fight.
Which is, I would say, that's unique. That's the first kind of
Yeah,
first two party member system that we've like done. Which I thought they did it really well. Honestly, I feel like if this game had 4 party members, it would be way overpowered.
Yeah, like it was cool too because it starts. You can manually control your party member, but we stuck with the default is like they just auto do whatever they want, which was cool. It made it easy breezy.
Yeah, and I felt like it made it seem like we were our character more.
Yeah,
like we didn't have control over our buddy.
Yeah, it was more Benjamin's story rather than like a whole cast of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, you there's like a tower called the Focus Tower, which is like a central tower in this world. You have to use coins to unlock different parts of the tower, which you get from like defeating these people who are these like bosses who are taking over the crystals. You save the crystals, you get through the tower, you fight the Dark Lord. Classic Final Fantasy stuff.
One thing that I would say is different, that I thought about a lot, like in between us playing, was because there's not really like an overworld like normal Final Fantasy games, or at least the ones that we've been playing so far. Where it's like you walk around and you just like get random encounters. I would say it was more like Super Mario Bros. 3 Overworlds, where you're just like a little sprite on top of this area, and you can move to other areas in like a line.
Yeah, it's very much like go to this town, go here. Yeah, you're not getting random fights, and even like when you're in dungeons and stuff, you're not getting random fights. There are enemies on the map.
Yeah.
And you can walk up to them and fight them if you want. But you can most of the time get around enemies if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And then like in the overworld there were battlefields, which were just like, do you want to grind like 10 fights real quick?
Yeah.
And then you can do that and you get like a little bonus XP at the end or something.
Yeah, and sometimes you got like items.
Yeah.
There were like rings you could get, or like there's always like gold and XP.
Yeah.
And I remember one time there was like a ring we got.
Yeah, we got like an equipment or something.
Mm-hmm.
What else was like unique about this game? I liked the magic system in this game.
Yeah,
because
too.
instead of just having like MP in general, you had like spell slots for white magic, spell slots for black magic, spell slots for like wizard magic they called it.
Yeah.
But like they all leveled up in different ways, and you had like usually you had more white magic, you had like black magic was in the middle, and then the wizard spells were like the more powerful ones that you had less slots of.
Yeah, I think towards the end we only had 8 wizard slots.
Yeah. So I liked that magic system. I thought it was cool to like limit it in that way. Yeah, anything else like that stands out to you about this game? There was jumping, like similar to Final Fantasy Adventure.
Yeah, and like a hook shot kind of thing.
Yeah.
One thing I did like, this happens sometimes in Final Fantasy games, is there's like different like sprites for the monsters depending on if they're close to dying or not. But also for most of the bosses, there were like more than 2 sprites for them. Like
there were like a few bosses that had like 4 sprites or something,
which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, I liked seeing like the progressive like damage happening on like, and every enemy had it, which was super cool.
Yeah, and some of them were really funny.
Yeah. What else can we say about this game? We have to mention our boy Spencer,
and his beautiful place that gets blown up so many times.
Just to explain, there's a town you go to. Some girl that is your party member, I think her name's Phoebe. She's just like, you got to visit my, I think, grandpa or something.
Dad or grandpa.
And he's just like, yeah, go under my house. And he's there. And you go under the house, and like every time you enter a new area, it shows the name of the area above. And it just said Spencer's place.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have like a cave of mist or something. It's just like, this is Spencer's place.
It's Spencer's place.
This is little like his little place that he goes. His man cave.
And it was a cave.
It was a literal cave. Yeah, and it did get blown up, like you said, multiple times.
Yes.
But we loved Spencer and his place. It was so cool.
And we just could not get Spencer's place out of our head whole time.
Every time a song would play, the soundtrack was playing, it was always Spencer's place.
Going to Spencer's place.
Also, the music in this game was bopping.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the Fireberg theme.
Fireberg theme
was
so good. And we found this out like right towards the end, like almost all the themes of like the main towns. There's like Fireberg, Windia. What was the first
Foresta?
one? Yeah, Foresta, and then the ice one.
Whatever the ice one was. I don't remember what the ice one was. Glacia or something. Who could say?
Some shit like that. But they all had like kind of the same song, but like in a different style.
Yeah, it was like the same arrangement, like a similar arrangement, but in different styles, which was cool. And yeah, this game, another thing I wanted to mention, it was basically the same development team as Final Fantasy Legend 3, which is like, I think when we first started playing it, I instantly was like, this has some like Final Fantasy Legend vibes.
It was wacky for sure.
Yeah. And so, I looked that up. It has the same development team as Legend 3. So yeah, it has like, same composer, same like people and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a great game. I think I had a good time with it. It makes sense why people say this is like a classic.
Yeah, it was a nice playthrough for sure.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to say is in Fireberg, like Fireberg's the best town for sure.
Yeah.
There's like a hotel, I think it says on the top, and inside there's like a band, and you can go up to them and they play a sweet song.
Yeah,
and it's a sweet song for sure. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say.
It's a good game. I think they should. Like, we played this on the Super Nintendo. That's the only place you can play this game. It hasn't been re-released at all, as far as I know. Like, not even like digitally or anything.
I have no idea.
I think it's time. Bring it back.
Yeah,
they've been
HD remix.
Back... Yeah, exactly. They've been bringing back other games lately. Like, I don't know if you've seen. There's a like Saga collection that came out on the Switch. So you can play
Ooh.
all the Final Fantasy Legend games on your Switch now, and they're like remastered and everything.
What?
Well, they're not like they're just kind of like slightly updated. It's not like a full
we should check that out
remake.
though.
Yeah. So that's come out. I think there was also a Mana collection that came out. So Final Fantasy Adventure was also recently re-released on the Switch. So you can play all these old games on the Switch now. Except for Mystic Quest.
Yeah,
they gotta get to it.
They should get to it. Honestly, I had lots of fun with this.
Like it's very fun to play on the Super Nintendo, but I know like a ton of people don't have the original console, and if they do, maybe it's not working or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's always good to update that stuff.
Yeah,
Come on,
definitely
folks.
Gotta get it. Keep the Mystic Quest alive.
Yes. It and it's a good like intro RPG for your kids.
Yeah,
or something.
absolutely. I think the Overworld is what made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because like in like Final, I was like comparing it to Final Fantasy 1, for example. Like if I played Final Fantasy 1 as a kid, which I did, I would not be able to get very far, and I didn't. But in this, I think I could beat this as a kid.
Oh yeah. Like we used a walkthrough, but there were some times when we were like in a dungeon where we were just like, we got it. We understand how this dungeon works.
Yeah, and I think that's really good. And like I agree with you that it could be like a good intro to like a Final Fantasy game or RPG kind of game. Like yeah. What I did like also was like you had a bunch of different like weapons that you could like sort through. Like you had sword, axe, grapple, hook or whatever, and then bomb. And each of them had their own like thing you could do in the map or not in like a dungeon.
Yeah.
Like a sword could poke like these sarcophagus looking guys and like flip a switch. The axe could chop down trees and flip certain switches. And then obviously the grapple was like a hook shot kind of thing where you could get to other areas, and then bomb is bomb. Yeah. Which I thought was cool. Yeah, blows up stuff. Which
that was cool. The thing that was like, this reminds me of Legend also, was they were like grenades, like the last because you were upgrading your weapons as you went along, and the last upgrade to the bomb was the mega grenade or something.
Yeah.
But so I remember the thing I was gonna say. We mentioned this in one of the previous episodes. Another game did this, but I liked that when a party member joined you, they were a higher level, so that you knew which level you should be around during this dungeon. So like people would be like, oh, they're at level like 23. Maybe I should start like grinding a little bit and fighting some enemies that I don't need to fight just so I can get up to their level. So I liked that. It lends itself to the like making the game easier for people. Yeah. And letting you know like you should be around this level at this point. And even then, like I felt like we were like over leveled towards the end of the game. Like we really breezed through it.
And speaking of levels, we like you looked it up while we were playing that the max level is 41.
I don't know why. It's a weird number.
And I think at the end we were level 34, which
was so close.
Yeah, and I think we looked at like the speed run of this game, and they were like level 21 or something.
Yeah, level
like
21
by the time
was the speed run level.
Yeah, which is just so weird. I don't know why they capped it at that, but I guess like it made sense just because like we were basically one-shotting every like enemy towards the end.
So let's run down like some Final Fantasy classic things that were in this game. No airships. I think this is like one of the first games we played with no airships.
There was like a boat
ship,
or a ship.
Obviously there is
4 crystals.
Yeah, Dark Lord,
Warrior of Light, kind of in Benjamin.
That was another thing about the story. At the end, the guy that like talked to you at the beginning, White, that like magical looking guy, he revealed himself to be the crystal of light, and he's not a guy at all. He was just another crystal guiding you through. So there's 5 crystals in this bad boy. But yeah, 4 elemental crystals.
So many crystals in this bad boy.
4 elemental crystals, Dark Lord. There was Excalibur.
Yep, Excalibur. I think there are no chocobos, no Cid.
No Cid.
I think that's almost everything that like I can think of.
That's weird because I don't know. Like while we were playing it, it definitely felt like a Final Fantasy game. But looking back on it, there's not a lot that is kind of like a Final Fantasy game, I guess. I mean, we also mentioned last time like when stores will have like a picture above them to show
Mhm.
you what they are. Like there were like the inn pictures
Yeah, and there
and
were no
stuff.
stores
Yeah, no stores. It
besides
was
the
just
inn.
people.
Yeah, just people, and like sometimes people would sell you stuff like bombs
Yeah,
or potions.
but they were always
Uh,
like they only sold one thing,
yeah,
and you had to go to a different person if you wanted to buy like a potion or something.
and most of the time you didn't even really need to do that because you would just find everything on like in the dungeons or wherever
Yeah.
you would go.
So yeah, I mean, are we ready to rank this bad boy?
I think I'm ready to rank.
Let's rank this bad boy. So we will move on to our first ranking system, ranking list. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
The most enjoyable. Now, where are we going to place this bad boy on the most enjoyable list? Above the Legend games?
I would say above the Legend games.
Yeah, above the Legend games, at least. Above Adventure? Let's think about this now. So I think this question, it's very similar to Adventure as well.
Yeah.
So I think the question is like, do we like the turn-based? Do we like the action-based system that Adventure had?
I would say, like, going back to when I said it was like press A the game.
Yeah.
Like, I would say that part of the game was the least enjoyable, was the fighting. But I really enjoyed like all the characters, and I thought it was like a fun story. But I would say that like just generic fighting. So like
Yeah,
I feel
definitely.
like I would personally put it below Adventure.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that, because even if I liked this story, it was like just a generic Final Fantasy Warrior of Light, Four Crystals story. At least Adventure was like its own thing, with like the mana tree and things like that. I thought that was interesting. So yeah, we'll put it below Adventure. So now Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is officially the number 8 most enjoyable Final Fantasy thing.
Oh yes.
Now let's move on to the most Final Fantasy list. So I think it is more Final Fantasy than at least the first 2 Final Fantasy Legend games. I'll agree to that. I think it's more Final Fantasy than Adventure.
I agree.
Is it more Final Fantasy than Legend 3? Let's think about that.
I feel like it has to be.
So Legend 3, what did we say about it that made it Final Fantasy? You know, there's different worlds you're going to. There's airship.
Yep. There's like kind of time travel-ish stuff.
Like fantasy and sci-fi mixed together kind of thing. This one's a tough one.
I just don't think there's like a way that I could say that Mystic Quest is less Final Fantasy than Legend 3 though. Like I just feel like the Legend games like didn't seem so Final Fantasy to me.
Yeah.
And like this like I would say if you were to rename Mystic Quest, it would just be Final Fantasy for kids.
Yeah, that's fair. Like
and so
yeah,
like
my
a kid
first
could
Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
basically.
my first Final Fantasy.
So, yeah, okay, so we'll put it. So it is above Legend 3. Now, there's no way we're putting it above the first Final Fantasy game, right?
No way.
It can't. It's not gonna beat that. Like that's, you know, it is. It's. We have put things above the first Final Fantasy, obviously, but yeah, I don't think Mystic Quest is more Final Fantasy than the first Final Fantasy.
Yeah, like maybe this could be like Final Fantasy 0.5.
Yeah,
or something
maybe
like that.
Yeah, this feels like. It does feel very similar to the side games we've played so far, and it's so weird to me because this isn't like part of a different franchise. Like all the other ones were like they're different. You know, it's a Saga game, it's a Mana game. This one was just Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, as far as I know. I don't know. Let me pull up the wiki again just to double check.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of like a bridge between both, like between the main games and the side games.
Yeah, so yeah, it is very much like Final Fantasy 0.5.
Yeah.
So I think that is what we'll do. We will officially put this game, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, at the moment is officially the number 7 most Final Fantasy thing we've talked about. We've done.
Yeah.
A good game.
Great game, yeah.
I loved it. I had a good time. It's short and sweet.
Yep.
Not even 10 hours, like 9.5 hours, basically. Other games take us a long time. You know, it's not a bad thing that games take a long time. Inherently, I don't think. Like with Final Fantasy V, it got a little long just because it kept like
just kept on going and going.
Kept on going and going, and like it pretended to end multiple times,
Yeah.
and then you just go to a new world. So
But I think that we're gonna get into like some longer games
Oh, yeah.
coming up, and like I think that is gonna be something that makes them greater.
yeah, because you get to spend a lot more time with the character.
Mhm.
That's what I liked about Final Fantasy V is like even if it was I got a little tired at the end of it. Like it was still fun to spend time with the characters and like
Mhm.
develop their stories and level up their jobs and things like that.
Yeah.
That was fun. So yeah, I'm excited to get into like you said last episode, we are truly getting into the golden era
Yeah.
of Final Fantasy games right now. Next episode,
Mhm.
Final Fantasy VI,
Yeah.
a classic.
Yeah.
For most people.
Yeah, one of the ones that people say is the best one.
Yeah, and I know basically nothing about it.
Yeah, same.
So I'm very excited to dive into that. We're gonna do that later today. We're gonna start Final Fantasy VI. That one obviously is gonna take us a little longer. So
yeah.
the episode, there's gonna be a bigger gap than the one that you just had in between episodes. So
Still not a year.
Still not a year. It's definitely not gonna take us a year.
Yeah, no way.
We will blast through this one as fast as we can.
Oh yes.
But
it's pretty close to being on to 7.
Yeah,
Which
and
will be
that's
even
like
more
that's
fun.
when we came into Final Fantasy or into Infinite Fantasy, that was my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Mhm.
So I guess we'll see compared to the other ones that we've played so far if that stays true
Yeah.
or not. Maybe 6 will dethrone it. I don't know.
We'll see.
But yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say about Mystic Quest. Good game. I recommend it to anybody who can get it.
Yeah, I agree. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, you'll be able to breeze through it very easily. It's not that hard, but it's a fun
Yeah.
time.
I loved playing it on the SNES.
Yeah,
Like
great.
SNES is one of my favorite consoles, and like the past couple games we were playing on like not an emulator, but like
Yeah, like
screen
on like the
sharing.
PC version.
Yeah.
Like on Steam.
Yeah, but it was really nice to play it on like an actual console with the actual controller and all
Yeah.
that.
And there will be like we said, like with this golden era of Final Fantasy happening, they've re-released a lot of these games on like modern consoles, so we'll
Mhm.
be able to start playing it on real consoles
Yeah.
instead of like doing a weird like rigged like connect the computer to the TV,
Mhm.
connect a controller to the computer, things like that. Like we're gonna really be able to speed through these things.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't know, no promises.
Yeah, we'll see.
But we're gonna get through them, and you're gonna have your Infinite Fantasy episodes in no time,
Oh,
folks. And with that being said, goodbye.
You got it. We got to come up with something eventually.
Yeah, Spencer's Place is always open to you. No, that one's not it. I don't know.
Not it, but
We'll
that's
figure it
good.
out. We'll figure it out,
Yeah.
folks. Don't worry.